right, so we're going to want to start with our posture when we're sitting in our chair. So for every scale chunk that you perform, be sure to sit up on the front of your chair. To achieve good posture, try doing this. Lean forward until you feel a little bit of tension. Now lean back until the tension goes away. Now lean back even further until you feel the tension again. Now go back to that sweet spot right in between where you are tension-free and sitting up tall. That is where you want to be when you perform. So as far as holding your instrument goes, we're going to first talk about your right hand and what it does inside the bell. Now, the placement of your hand inside the bell should start with how your hand looks outside of the bell. A great trick to have really great positioning and placement of your hand is to just think about cupping your knee. So putting it over the top of your knee and then taking it away. Notice I don't have any spaces where air can slip in between my fingers, or you can think about the Miss America wave or the King or Queen wave. And when you go to insert it into the bell of your instrument, try to put it on the far wall, just far enough in so that you feel the wall hit the first knuckle of your thumb. You don't want to put it too far in to cut off the sound, and you also don't want to cover up the sound by closing your hand off. You want to just make sure that it's on that far wall, right up until you can feel that first knuckle of your thumb. Now for your left hand, for those of you who have a ring, which most of you will have, you take your pinky and insert it into that ring, and then just place your fingertips on top of the valves. You don't want to completely cover the valves with your fingers or have too little of your fingers on. Just the pads of your fingers is just fine. Kind of like almost like you're holding a ball, and then you just put it right on there. Now that we have our hands set, let's talk a little bit about where you're going to place the horn. Now, most beginners should start with placing the bell on their leg. Now, we want to make sure that it's not too far out or too far back. Just kind of find it right in the middle of your thigh. And also be sure that the bell isn't facing right into your body, because that's where all the sound is going to go and your stomach will dampen it. So make sure that when you have it in the middle of your thigh, that the opening of the bell is facing out so that your sound is uninhibited and free-flowing into the space next to you. Before we get to actually playing chunk number one, we need to establish a forte dynamic and the airstream that it requires to play such a loud dynamic. So using my hand to monitor my airflow, I'm going to take in an open O breath, like I would say the word whoa. I'm going to hold my hand 8 inches away from my face and blow out air fast enough to reach my hand. This is how much air I would need to achieve a forte dynamic as is required by chunk number one. It looks something like this. So the first exercise, chunk number one, begins on a middle C, which sounds like this. It then goes up to a G, which uses the same fingering, open, but is what we refer to as one partial higher. Now, the partials are within the harmonic series, so the partial G, which sounds like this, is just one partial higher than the note we previously played, which is C. All right, here we go with scale chunk number one.